their abilities, their talents, or simply their smile. When I first met Nick Vujicic, I knew I had just encountered someone extraordinary. From the moment he began to share his amazing story with me, I witnessed firsthand how God is using a man with no arms and no legs to be God's hands and his feet.
My dad was saying that he was, his head was next to my mum's head as I was being born, and he saw my shoulder, and he just went pale. He was hoping my mum didn't see me because he saw that I had no right arm. And my dad had to leave the room, and he couldn't believe what he saw. And the doctor came in, and my dad said, "My son, he has no right arm." And he says, "No, your son has no arms or legs." And he said he nearly fell on the floor. He couldn't believe it. And the whole church was mourning, like, why would God let the pastor's son be born that way? And my mum, at first, she didn't want to hold me. She didn't want to, breastfeed me and all that. She just felt very uncomfortable for the first 4 months. And it took them quite a while before they could trust in God that he didn't make a mistake, that he didn't forget them or me.
Nick's parents gave their fear and even disappointment in their son's disability over to the Lord. They chose to trust God and his promise that he had a plan and purpose, a hope and a future for their son. But as the years passed, Nick, on the other hand, had many challenges trusting in a God that he felt gave him less.
I challenged God. I said, "God, I know that I'm a sinner. I know that I won't probably have peace until you're in my heart, but I will not let you in my heart until you answer me why. Why did you take my arms and legs? Why didn't you give me what everybody else has?" And I said, "God, until you answer me that question, I will not serve you." And so I wanted to end it. If God wasn't going to end my pain, I was going to end it myself. So at age 8, I tried to drown myself in a bathtub of 4 inches of water. I told my mum and dad, "I'm just going to relax in the bathtub. Can you put me in the bathtub?" And yeah, I turned over a couple times to see if I could do it. I couldn't do it. The thought that stopped me from going through with it was the love for my parents. Because I love them so much, and all they did was love me. And I thought to myself, if I actually went through with this, I pictured my funeral, I pictured my parents, and all I saw was guilt on their shoulders, that they couldn't have done more.
That would be the last time Nick would attempt suicide, but it wouldn't be the last time he would come face to face with those deep issues that made him want to end the pain.
And that's when I started seeing that there is no point in being complete on the outside when you're broken on the inside. And I found out that God can heal you without changing a circumstance.
What was it specifically for you that made you say, "Lord, I'm going to trust your word because I know it's true. I'm going to trust you even if I don't know what you have in store for me tomorrow"?
Right. Because there was nothing else I could find. There was nothing else that could give me peace. I knew arms and legs wouldn't give me peace anyway, arms and legs alone. I needed to know the truth of who I am, why I'm here, and where I'm going when I'm not here. And I haven't found that truth anywhere else but in Jesus Christ.
And it was in Jesus Christ where Nick found the strength to do what many thought would be the impossible.
It's so hard to be strong when people constantly say, "You're not good enough, you know, go away, we don't want anything to do with you. Nick, you're a nobody. Nick, you can't do this. Nick, you can't do that. Nick, 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 Nick." In life, if you don't know the truth, then you can't be free. Because then you'll believe that the lies are the truth. But once we realize that when we read the Word of God and you know the truth of who you are, I am not a man without arms and legs. I am a child of God. I am forgiven of my sins. I'm an ambassador of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. I'm nothing but a servant of the Most High God. This is not about Nick. It's not about Nick's capacity and capability to become this conqueror. I am nothing. I'm nothing. God, though, lives in me, and I now live in his strength. And whatever Jesus conquered, I conquer. I believe if God doesn't give you a miracle, you are a miracle of God. for somebody else's salvation. And I thank God that he didn't answer my prayer when I was begging him for arms and legs at age 8. Because guess what? Because I have no arms and no legs, he's using me all around the world. And we've seen so far, approximately, this is conservative, 200,000 souls come to Jesus Christ for the very first time in the last 6-7 years. And what would you rather? Would you rather have arms and legs, Nick, here on earth and no arms? No. Whatever his will is. Because I'd rather have no arms, no legs temporarily here on earth to be able to reach someone else for Jesus Christ and then spend eternity with them there.
In the last decade, Nick has shared his story in 24 countries to over 3 million people. And whether he's talking to a stadium packed with people or one single person, his heart behind the message is the same.
God loves you, that he hasn't forgotten your pain, he hasn't forgotten your family. And maybe while you're watching this interview, you've compared your suffering to my suffering. And that's not where hope is, to know that someone else, in your opinion, is suffering more than you. That's not where hope is. But hope is in the name of God, the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Hope is when you compare your suffering to the infinite, immeasurable love and grace of God. Isaiah 40, verse 31, says, "Those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings as eagles." I didn't need my circumstance to change. I don't need arms and legs. I need the wings of the Holy Spirit. And I'm flying because I know Jesus is holding me up. Don't give up on God, because God will not give up on you.
I wasn't ready.
I have no arms and no legs, but I'm very thankful that I have my little chicken drumstick here. People freak out when they see me for the first time. It's so cool. I was at a water slide all by myself. Everyone obviously at the bottom of the slide is looking up and waiting for other people to come down, and here I come and they're freaking out. They're like, you know, like this. And I was so tempted to look at myself and go, what happened? You know? And there were times where I sort of looked at my life and thinking, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And you keep on concentrating on the things that you wish you had or the things that you wish you didn't have. And you sort of forget what you do have. And there's no point, I believe, in my life where I wish I had arms and legs, I wish I had arms and legs, I wish I had arms and legs, because wishing won't help. But what I've seen in life are just a couple key principles, and the first thing that I've seen is to be thankful. It's hard to be thankful, man. I tell you, when I was 8 years old, I sort of summed up my life and thought, I'm never going to get married. I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to have a life of purpose. What kind of a husband am I going to be if I can't even hold my wife's hand? It's a lie to think that you're not good enough. It's a lie to think that you're not worth anything. One point. Woo! It's freezing. I can't feel my hands. I love life. You know, so many people come and say, how come you smile so much? And I'm like, well, it's a long story. But it's very simple at the same time. You see, it's very hard to smile sometimes in life. There are things that happen that you don't know and you don't understand, and you don't know if you're going to get through it. You know, you go through your storms in life and you don't know how long this storm is going to be. And today I want to share with you some principles that I've learned in my life that you can use in yours. Being patient is beautiful. I tell you, it's the hardest thing. But I realize I may not have hands to hold my wife's hand, but when the time comes, I'll be able to hold her heart. I don't need hands to hold her heart. You know, it is scary to know how many girls have eating disorders. It is scary to know how many people are just angry at life because of their situation at home and angry at others. It's scary to know how many people actually feel like they're worth nothing. Every single girl right here, right now, I want you to know that you are beautiful. You are gorgeous just the way you are. And you boys, you're the man.
Every now and again in this job, you meet someone who quite simply makes your spirit soar. That's how I felt when I first met Nick Vujicic. Nick was born in Australia without any arms or legs, yet he lives a life that's more joyful and more fulfilling than most able-bodied people I know. All that was missing from his world was a special lady. Well, 4 years on, Nick is now a married man. Recently, he invited me back to Los Angeles to meet the woman who's made his life complete.
Hey babe, you ever done a backflip before?
No.
No?
Never in my life.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous now. It's always... Backflips are scary.
Unique is the only word to describe Nick Vujicic and his head-over-heels approach to life.
What can't feel my legs?
Nick was born without arms and legs, and growing up, feared he would have to swim through life alone.
I definitely had doubts that I'd ever get married, that I'd ever meet anybody who would ever love me and spend the rest of their life with me, because I'm Prince Charming with a couple bits and pieces missing. You know, those things were important, you know, and I'd see everybody else has them, so why could I ever compete with all the other guys and ever, you know, find my princess?
Now at 29, Nick's not only found his princess, he's married her, and her name is Kanae.
I feel like a CEO.
To me, it wasn't any different falling in love with Nick. I fell in love with him the way he is now. And so because I had dated other guys and I had gone for the physical and, you know, but I was tired of that. And the moment I met Nick, I was looking for other things. And all of those things, I found them in him. So that's when I felt like, wow, you know, he's not only boyfriend material, but he's like, he could be my husband.
Well, you're not your standard issue fellow, are you?
No, not exactly. We actually have gotten a lot of interesting reactions from just people while we were dating and, you know, holding hands and walking side by side. Some even people come up and cry.
Can I just ask how you hold hands?
Yeah, right here. We're holding hands right here, and she'd have a hand around me or jump on the back of my wheelchair.
But what sort of reactions would you get?
Well, people would come up and cry and say, now I believe in true love again.
When I first met Nick in 2008, he was very much a single man, with his signature generosity of spirit and good humour. No arms, no legs.
No worries, mate.
Then 2 years ago, he and Kanae crossed paths, and it was, without a hint of exaggeration, love at first sight.
The moment I saw him and I saw his eyes and his smile and just, you know, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, he's so handsome. Like, to me, he's definitely Prince Charming, you know. He might not be perfect in the exterior, but he's a perfect match for me.
It was electric. I mean, when she stood by me, it just felt right.
Is it fair to say that it is the world's most unlikely love story?
You can say that.
What do you think, Nick?
There's a lot of love stories out there, but it's a special one. Very special.
I'm so glad you're doing it.
Oh, Mom, I love you.
I love you.
The fact is, just about everything Nick does is special. From falling out of the sky to learning how to surf. He refuses to let his rare condition called phocomelia confine him to a wheelchair. Nick has had to develop a sink or swim approach to life.
When I breathe in, watch this, I'm not paddling. I go up and out, all by breath, right? And I just float.
That is amazing. Just breathe.
Just by laughing.
Do the breathing again.
I'll hold it. And then out.
Fantastic.
There you go. And because I don't have arms and legs to supply oxygen to, I can actually hold my breath longer than the average. 2 minutes, 13 seconds.
It's easy to see why his positive outlook has won Nick a growing legion of admirers. Enthralled by the story of a young boy from Melbourne who did all in his power to turn disadvantage into advantage. Today, he's wheeling himself onto the hallowed ground at Dodgers Stadium in Los Angeles.
Nick, 40,000 plus people. You get stage fright. No, not these days. Pumps don't get sweaty these days.
Over 4.5 million have now heard his story.
It doesn't mean I'm not going to cry. It doesn't mean I'll understand everything, but I know he's with me.
A tale of faith, hope, and now love.
There's always been a huge chemistry between the two of us. And sometimes at the beginning, people would say, "Hey, don't kiss too much." It was shocking to me because it was something that I never felt before.
Ever the romantic, Nick proposed on a yacht in Santa Barbara last year. One potential problem, how to put the ring on her finger. It was solved by Nick's ingenuity. He used his mouth.
I'm going, "Baby, can I kiss your hand?" And I'm going, "Mwah, mwah, 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 mwah," but a left hand.
Right.
And I put the ring down her finger all the way. And she's like thinking I'm getting kinky or something. She's like, "What are you doing?"
Biting my finger.
I'm biting your finger.
And I was like, why is he why is he biting my finger?
So I put it all the way down, and I pull back, and she sees there's a ring on it. And she just, her face, her big eyes, tears immediately. And I said, "Baby, I love you. Would you marry me and spend the rest of your life with me?" And she just cried.
What about a physical relationship? Was that difficult for you? Is it difficult for you?
You mean intimacy?
Yeah.
No, we're very affectionate people.
Like, sometimes I can't hold his hand all the time, so then I hug him or, so. But, he's got everything he needs, I mean.
Beautifully answered.
That was
They got married in February this year. Then settled into their house, an hour north of Los Angeles, California. From here, Nick has his office, where he writes his books and prepares motivational speeches. But as independent as Nick is, he still needs care.
These are my cooking glasses.
Much of it provided by outside help, but a fair bit by Kanaer, who at the age of 24 has now assumed the role of wife and carer.
He was a part of the deal. I mean, she saw how it came in the package. So she knew how I would function with caregivers, and we knew that would change somewhat, quite a lot, as to how much, but she was ready for that challenge, and I was amazed at her love, and yeah.
If you ever have a cross word, then things might change. And then you've got to switch from wife to, "Hey, I need you to shave me," or "I need you to feed me." How does that work?
Well, you know what? I don't know, because we've only been married for maybe 7 months, and we haven't had an argument yet. So
I promise
it's like,
you.
yeah, it will come. It's like we're still in our honeymoon, But honestly, no, that hasn't happened yet. So when it happens, I'll let you know.
You can have your dinner later. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, jeez. How heavy are you?
4 years ago, Nick was characteristically candid about his desire to find true love and maybe become a parent.
I love you, Peter.
Kids one day?
Absolutely. Yeah, medically, I can have kids. Well, I'm not going to be pregnant, but yeah. But, yeah, I see kids definitely in my life. Yeah, I can't wait to be a father.
Well, it was just the two of us on the beach that day. Now, 4 years on, there's a third. And, would you believe it, soon to be a fourth.
Clearly, you're a happier man.
Very, very happy, and actually we're sharing something else, a great joy that we're very much looking forward to. We're pregnant. We're pregnant. So, our son Kiyoshi's on the way.
Tell us about your little boy you're having.
Well, let me tell you, it was a big surprise for us. We always said, oh, you know, we're gonna wait 2 years before we have kids, and you know, it happened. And this is our baby. It was 15 weeks, right? Now it's 17 weeks, but it was 15 weeks when we were there, and we could see everything. Both of his hands, both of his feet, his brain.
Look at that, his little hands.
Yeah.
But was there a worry or a concern from the doctors and a genuine concern from yourselves that perhaps your little one could be born without limbs?
Well, medically speaking, there's a even smaller chance. The chance that this happened to me, it'll be even smaller because it's not genetic or anything like that. Did it cross our minds? Absolutely. Was I relieved when I saw the 10 fingers and 10 toes? Absolutely. It was just a joy, you know. I love you.
If there is anyone in this world who deserves to find happiness, it's Nick Vujicic. He's overcome huge challenges in his life, and no doubt there are more to come. But for Nick and Kanae, life right now is pretty good.
4 years ago, we sat on this beach here in Malibu and we talked about your dreams and hopes for the future. It seems they've come true.
Here we are. It's amazing. Why not? Our dreams do come true. And she's the greatest dream that's ever come true for me.
Thankful that they knew nothing until I was born. Because imagine if my parents did know, and they would have what? The option of abortion. And the majority of the doctors, I believe, would encourage such an act. Why? Because what we see in this child's life is not going to be a good quality lifestyle for you and your child. And the wisest thing you could do is abort. Well, hey, who knew? Who knew that I would become a 23-year-old professional motivational speaker, speaking to 1 million people all around the world, starting schools in third world countries, building hospitals in the future and orphanages and all that stuff. We sponsor 43 kids who don't have food, fresh water and all that sort of stuff. And that's just the beginning. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a stock market investor. I love options trader.
To school to either tease somebody, gossip about somebody, or you can go up to them and encourage them. You can go up to somebody and say, hey, you're looking good today. When you ask them how you doing and they say okay, and you know they're not okay, you can say, no, really, how are you doing? You could save somebody's life. Oh, really, Nick? No, I don't think so. Check this out. I was 6 years old, grade 1. 12 people teased me. I counted them all on my fingers. 12 people teased me. And at the end of the day, 10 to 3 in the afternoon, I said, I can't do this. If one more person teases me today, that's it. I'm going to give up. And I'm driving in my wheelchair, my BMW 7 Series to my parents, right? And there is this one girl who yells out, "Hey, Nick!" I'm thinking, great, here it is. She comes to me and she says, "Nick, I just want you to know that you're looking good today." And I'm like, oh. The power of encouragement. You can save a person's life. Because I tell you, I was walking, man, this way. You're not good enough. People telling me, no one loves you. There's nothing good in your life. You can't do this. You can't do that. No one's going to want to marry you and all these sort of things and get to the edge. And all I needed was that one more person to tell me that I wasn't good enough. And I'll be down there. Do you know that you could be that one person for somebody else to push them over? You don't know how many people have eating disorders in this school. You don't know how many people want to hurt themselves in this school. They hide it. You don't know how many people hate their life. And you're one of the reasons why. Can you imagine that? Serious. Why? Just because you want to have fun. Grow up. Grow up. I dare this school not to tease another person for the rest of the day. I dare you. I dare you. Do you think that's possible? People will say, well, I won't do it, but everybody else will. Be the change you want to see. And you be that person and turn them around. This school should have every person having a friend. You see somebody having no friends, why don't you go up to that person and be their friend? Because you're scared of what people think of you. Let's do it. Let's wake up. Embrace it, man. Let's live. I love my life. Nothing stopped me. Am I happy all the time? No, not happy all the time. I'm not happy. I cry sometimes. Not because of no arms, no legs. This is easy. I'm talking about the things in life that other things, man. I'm like stressed about and anxious about it. The person that I love, they're hurting and I can't do anything about that. That's what kills me. We're all going through something. We're all trying to find that something, that happiness. Because I found it. In my life. I've made choices and this is how I am. This is where I am. And I love it. You know what's cool? Sorry. Just getting a seat organized. That's better. Put my feet up, you know. I want to talk about my wife. I'm not married. I don't know who my wife is yet, right? It's okay. I know she's coming. It's fine. She's coming. Just because you have no boyfriend, girls, it doesn't mean you're not beautiful and that you're not loved. You don't need a boyfriend. You don't need to use your body as security to make you feel that someone needs you. My wife is coming. And I may not have hands to hold my wife's hand, but I don't need hands to hold her heart. That's all I want to hold. I'll tell you, a real man would wait. A real man would not put your life in danger if you're not 100% sure that you're going to be together for the rest of your life. That's why I haven't had sex, because I don't know who I'm going to marry yet. Why? That's why I haven't had sex, because I don't know who I'm going to marry yet. Why sleep around with everybody else? It's so silly. Why? Just for temporary pleasure? No, man. The table, do a back twist and land on the floor. Okay? Is that cool? Are you ready? Oh, there's a clock there. Okay, can you move the clock for a second, please? Beautiful, beautiful. All right. You ready?
So, are you guys ready? Just let me know when you're ready. Are you ready? Okay, ready? 1, 2. I'm joking, man. Are you serious? Just put the clock back there. If I did that, I'll break my arm or something. You know what I mean? But honestly, along the way, you might fall down like this. Ready? Right? Hello! Right. So what do you do when you fall down? Get back up. Everybody knows to get back up, because if I start walking, I'm not going to get anywhere. But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down and you feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. You sort of put a mask on your face when you come to school and pretend that everything's okay when it's not, and you go home and lay in your bed when no one's looking at you, when you don't have to impress anybody, and you're yourself. And fear comes in. You know the fear that you have as soon as you walk into the doors of your house. Maybe there's a broken home. Maybe you have doubt in your life. Maybe you don't know for sure what's going to be happening in the future, and it scares you. Maybe you're worried about what people think of you, what people say about you. Just that fear paralyzes you. And I just want to ask you today, do you think you have hope? Because I tell you, I'm down here, face down, and I have no arms, no legs. It should be impossible for me to get back up. I mean, you go home and tie the legs and arms of your brothers and sisters and like push them down and see how long it's going to take them to get back up. You know what I mean? You know, you can tell them that you'll see them tomorrow. You know what I mean? But this is the thing. It should be impossible for me to get back up, but it's not. You see, I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? No. But if I fail, I try again and again and again. For as long as I try, there's always that chance of getting up. Does that make sense? And it's not the end until you've given up. And just the fact that you're here should persuade you that you have another chance to get back up. There's still hope. I'm not here today to tell you that I understand your pain. I don't know how it feels to be abused. I don't know how it feels to feel, quote, fat and you've got an eating disorder. I don't know how it feels to have a broken home. I don't know how it feels. But I know how it feels to have a broken heart. And I know how it feels to be alone. And I want you to know that I found my strength in Jesus Christ, and you're going to find your strength in whatever you find it in. But I just want you to know that it's not the end. It matters how you're going to finish. Are you going to finish strong? And you will find that strength to get back up like this.